This podcast is not affiliated with any Grand Lodge, and the ridiculous antics and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own. Should be dismissed immediately.
Ready, set, go.
Well, good evening.
Good evening. We are here for another very special episode.
Oh, this is a very, very special episode.
It's episode 47,
Yes.
and we are at the oldest lodge in Nebraska.
The oldest,
It is the oldest, Jim. I don't know if you knew that.
I hadn't heard that yet. Tonight.
It hasn't come up.
Oh, wait, no, I've heard it multiple times tonight.
We are at the 170th anniversary celebration of Lodge Number 1 in Nebraska.
Lodge number 1.
Nebraska Lodge Number 1. Why don't you just go ahead and say it, Jim?
The oldest lodge in the state of Nebraska.
It is the oldest. I've heard that today. All right, as usual, we'll shout out to our show sponsors. We have, man, I'm getting old. Those lights are bright. We have Homeward Handyman Services, the Insurance Center, who gladly, gainfully employs Jason, the Corporal Dagan Page Foundation.
You said they gladly do?
Yeah, I think he does an all right
I don't know
job
about
for 'em.
gladly, but
Oh, okay.
they do employ me.
Begrudgingly.
Capitalistically.
He's employed. They have a symbiotic
Nonetheless, he's
relationship.
gainfully employed. And of course, our Patreon supporters, of which we would not be able to further make our show better, at least 5% better since we started.
At least 5.
At least 5%.
I want to see where you came up with that statistic.
Maybe 7%.
7.
It's a percentage. We're
It's 5
better.
to 7. We're 5 to 7% better. I'll take your word for that.
That's the new segment. See if you can spot where.
Guess where we've improved.
Let us know.
So, Jim, what have you been up to the last couple of weeks?
Planning and working for this celebration. So this has been. I've been working on this since July, but it finally came together. It was a very good time. We had a very good turnout. Last few weeks definitely been working on this.
Yeah. I've been up to nothing. That's it.
You had lodge.
I had lodge last night, and I started sweating profusely for no reason. And when it came to closing, I got everything backwards.
Yeah, I've never seen that. Instead of counterclockwise, you started going clockwise.
Yeah. I don't know what was going on. I was just dripping sweat, and I was getting a little dizzy, and it is what it is.
We got through it.
I made it home.
Made it home.
Jason, what about you?
Just preparing for Medicare season on the insurance side of things, which has been a little bit much this year, it seems like. But other than that, I missed the lodge meeting last night, unfortunately. Been helping the daughter get ready, though, for her Job's Daughter fundraiser that they're going to have here for their Indian tacos. So it's been a little bit of a
When is the
mess.
fundraiser?
October 18th.
October 18th. Where at?
It's going to be here.
Oh, is it going to be?
That's your cue.
Is it going to be at the home of the oldest lodge in the state of Nebraska?
Otherwise known as the West Omaha Masonic Center.
Oh, well, no.
I've heard.
I've heard that too, but
So what is an Indian taco?
They use fry bread. That's what they do. And then they've
Never had an Indian taco?
Nope.
They are so good.
I know where you can get one.
Where?
October 18th. At the,
But where?
That's not
That's
my
your
line.
cue.
It's your. No, I got to spread the wealth.
the
You
West
said.
Omaha Masonic Center.
Oh,
Oh, see, I took the easy
You know
way
the
out
oldest
there.
lodge in Nebraska is there?
I've heard that a
I
few
do.
times.
I do it better than you do.
That's because it matters to you.
It does matter. Well, it matters to our guests too.
Yeah, it does. And our guest is worshipful brother Matthew Parker. What have you been up to the last couple of weeks? We'll start there.
I mean, I'm a state government employee and just doing that mostly, as well as my insane number of other hobbies and commitments.
Perfect. So tell us where you're from, what lodges you belong to, and something interesting about you.
Sure. My name is Matthew Parker. I am the other Matt Parker in Masonry. The other one is in North Carolina. I was initiated.
Wait a minute. I think we booked the wrong one.
Oh, sorry. You wanted him? I can call him. I got his number.
Oh, no. We got the right one.
He'll be here in a week. No. I was initiated and passed in Topeka Lodge number 17 in Topeka, Kansas, which is now Orient Topeka Lodge number 17 after a successful merger. Then raised by courtesy at Nebraska Lodge number 1, where I then joined as a member. I am also a member of Craftsman Lodge number 314 in Lincoln, as well as still being a member of Orient Topeka and Paramuthia Lodge number 25 in Ohio.
That's a lot of dues cards.
Oh, then that's not even. I'm trying to give Worshipful Brother TJ a run for his money because that's not even including all of the appendant bodies and all that.
Yeah, he's one of those guys.
Do we have enough time to go through them?
What he skipped over, just a little bit he gave us, he skipped over that he's past master in 2 of those.
Yes, I was Master of Lodge 1 in 2023 and Master of Lodge 314 in 2024.
He didn't get enough the first year.
Right, I didn't get it enough right the first year. I needed to try again. I'm a past High Priest of Omaha Chapter number 1 Royal Arch Masons, a member of Omaha Council number 1 Cryptic Masons, a past Sovereign Master of Roscoe Pound Council number 596 Allied Masonic degrees. I'm a member of the Omaha and Lincoln Scottish Rites. I think that's everything.
New show segment. Guess how much Matthew pays in dues?
Oh my God, no. If I ever sat down and actually added it up, I would probably have to demit from a couple
It's an
bodies.
additional 5 to 7% every
Right.
year.
Definitely seems like it's going that way at least.
All right.
An interesting fact about myself. A Masonic fact about myself is that I am a Mason because of a professor at the University of Northern Colorado named Dr. Lloyd Worley, who was a professor of English and was the first Mason that I ever knew was a Mason and talked to him about it. So recruited across state lines and across time.
That's awesome. So no family that you know of?
Nope, I'm Jewish on one side and Catholic on the other, and there's not necessarily that many Masons in either of those faith traditions. Although we do see obviously both of them, just not predominantly. So if there are, back in my ancestral line, nobody ever talked about it. So the first Mason that I ever knew was a Mason and could ask, so what is Masonry? Like what are behind all of the pop culture stuff? What actually is this? Was Dr. Worley.
Huh. That's very interesting. I like it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, what brought you to Masonry and what keeps you here?
So when I started tying into that, when I started talking to Dr. Worley, it was a sense of belonging to something greater than myself and a sense of the history and tradition of it. I have always been someone that appreciated history. My undergraduate minor was in history. I'm part of a medieval recreation group. So I've always loved history, and being one part in this great line that goes back into antiquity and has meant so much to so many people was definitely one of the things that drew me into Masonry, as well as looking at Dr. Worley and then talking to some other men in my life that it turns out were Masons, and that once I was interested, started talking about it. The way they talked about Masonry and what it meant to them and had meant to them for a very long time was something that I wanted for myself. There's a story about President McKinley during the Civil War witnessing a Union doctor giving playing cards and tobacco and money to Confederate prisoners. And he asked the doctor, why are you doing that? Do you know those men? Will they pay you back? And he said, I've never met them before. They're Masons and I'm a Mason, and they'll pay me back if they ever have the opportunity, but I'm doing it because we're Masons. And McKinley said, if that's Masonry, I want some of it for me. And that's kind of how I felt about looking at how it had improved the lives of these men that I admired. If that was what Masonry was to them, I wanted some of it for me. And I stay because I'm getting that, because it gives me an opportunity to think about the kind of man that I want to be and meet so many men that I otherwise never would have. Because I was thinking about it the other day, thinking about who in Lodge 1 could I have met? And it's like, well, of all of the people in Lodge 1, maybe 3. There are maybe 3 people who we had enough overlap in our orbits that at some point I might have met you.
Right.
But I never did. And then everyone else in Masonry that I've met, I have met because of Masonry. And so the opportunity to expose myself to so many different people with so many different viewpoints and so many different experiences and know them and understand them, it gives me tremendous value in keeping my own life in perspective and in giving me more thoughts and more philosophies to consider and integrate into my life if I feel like they'll improve my life, or at least understand if I don't feel like it's for me.
Yeah.
It was one of the things, I've got to meet Matthew a handful of times because he's so busy, he doesn't make it to all the lodge functions, but he makes it to most of the major functions. And one of the things I appreciate about him, we'll talk about education here in a little bit and his role in the state with that, but he's a teacher. And he mentioned being Jewish. I don't have a lot of, ironically, I was in a Jewish fraternity in college, but I don't have a lot of Jewish friends. So every time that we're together, he's taught me something about faith. The diversity that's involved in Masonry, I don't know that I would have gotten those lessons in life, but I get them every time. And so I appreciate those lessons. He's also, the great thing about when he's in the degrees, any of the Jewish words, he straightens us out on the way they're really supposed to be. So.
One of my favorite things to do in Masonry is expose Masons to the way Hebrew is actually pronounced at least once in their Masonic careers. They will hear the 12 tribes pronounced correctly.
Who has been one of the most influential Masons in your life? You talk about the professor. Do you have any others?
I mean, I think one of the great things about Masonry is that if you are looking for people to be influential in your life, absolutely you can find them. And in Nebraska, a great example of that for me is Most Worshipful Brother Tom Howder, who is a past Grand Master of Nebraska, is the reason why I'm on the education committee, is the reason why I'm involved with the Midwest Conference on Masonic Education, is someone that is passionately committed to education as a vital part of the Masonic experience, and not just an afterthought or not just something we do because we think we have to, but as something that is one of the reasons why people join Masonry, and so has really inspired me to do a lot of the things that I do in Masonry. And part of that was a confluence. I was doing some of it before I had the pleasure of meeting Tom, but really driving home like, no, this is something that is important to a lot of Masons, nationally and worldwide, and that we really should dedicate ourselves to. So I would definitely say, among many others that I have been blessed to really look up to in Masonry, definitely Most Worshipful Brother Tom.
So let's talk about if you could sit down to dinner, at a lodge dinner with anybody, past, present, Mason or not, who would it be and why?
Mason or not is hard. Expanding the circle out that far is hard. I'll go with a Mason to start. Albert Pike.
Okay.
Reading through, I just finished a couple months ago the Scottish Rite Master Craftsman 3 program, which is a deep, deep dive into morals and dogma and all of Pike's views on Freemasonry. And I'd previously done the first and second. They redid everything, but this is how I went through them, was 1, 2, and 3 Master Craftsman courses. And the second one is on esoterica and Pike's view of the Blue Lodge degrees. And dealing with Pike for me is a fascinating experience because it's like 50% Oh my God, that is such an insightful way of viewing Masonry, and I that encapsulates something that I'd believed about Masonry but hadn't been able to put into words. And about 50%, what are you even talking about? Where is this coming from? Why do you think that means what it means? And are you sure that's the interpretation you wanted to put out there? Could we maybe convince you to talk a little bit less about Lucifer, even in an allegorical fashion, which you are clearly talking about in an allegorical fashion?
That's caused some problems.
Yeah, just a few. But yeah, it's just this fascinating, like, I want to talk to him a little bit about the things that I agree with, because I want to know where those came from, and a little bit about the things that I disagree with, because I also really want to know where those came from.
Yeah, yeah. Mostly because I didn't look at the clock at what time we started. We're going to take a quick break
Okay,
because we're back to a limit on the camera time.
I was getting ready to ask. But
Gotcha.
Yep. So we'll take a quick break and we'll.
Demonstrate that love never ends through the commitment to support past and present service members, the communities that surround them, and the loved ones of those whom we will never forget. Visit deganpage.org for more information.
Now, usually we joke about how long these breaks take, and they're just really short for you and long for us. That has got to be a record for the shortest break I've ever.
It is. I think it was less than 5 seconds.
Well, no. How long was the commercial?
Oh, probably a minute and a half.
Yeah, that was the fastest minute and a half I've seen on the show.
Flew by.
One thing before we get back into the questions, a little bit off track. If you're watching this on video, you probably see this strange contraption behind us. And then there's a story behind it. So we've got two trunks that are covered by a blue blanket. That is not normally something that you would find in a lodge. We're sitting in the middle of the room, and normally you would find our altar here. But because it being our 170th anniversary, we are going to reenact something that happened from the very first year that we were chartered as a lodge. To start off with, 1855, they did not have the proper tools. They didn't have the correct altar. So from the records we have, they had two trunks that was covered by a blue blanket. Now, the other neat thing that happened, the second petitioner in our lodge, the first one that we got to vote on was General Peter Sarpy. And that is a very influential name in Nebraska history. But the reason it's significant to us, again, we did not have the proper tools, the proper ballot box. So the records show that when they voted on his petition, they used a pickle jar, bullets, and rocks. So Monday is going to be our regular communication. We do have a couple petitions that we're going to vote on, and we're going to go old school. We've got a jar, we've got bullets, and we've got rocks. So that's why we've got the decor set up the way it is. It's kind of a neat part of our history, and we figured 170 years later, we're going to reenact that, and we're going to have a good time doing it.
We do need to all decide before Monday or on Monday which is a yes vote and which is a no vote.
I was going to say, what is the affirmative? Because the bullets would definitely, to me, be a negative vote.
See, and I think just because a bullet is more valuable than a rock, I'd say a bullet is a yes vote.
Well, see, now I'm going back the other way, because if you're going to talk about what we do, what the operative Masons did, the rock is more important to us than the bullet would be. So, yeah.
As long as
we've got all weekend to think about it, we'll figure that out.
I'd hate to see someone get, a black rock or a black bullet just because we didn't know what we were doing.
Yeah, you better hammer that out.
It was a good idea.
I think it's going to be, I'm really excited. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Sounds like it'd be a good time.
We'll just have a briefing beforehand, like, okay, remember.
Yes. Bullets are bad.
Or good.
Or good.
Or good.
We haven't decided yet. We're going to have to, what's going to end up happening is we're going to form a committee.
Yeah.
We're going to have meetings before the meeting so that we can decide. Here we go again.
Off the rails, just how we like it.
So next up I've got for you, what does Masonry mean to you?
Masonry means to me a way of viewing my life and what happens in it in order to help me understand and contextualize the choices that I have to make and the actions that I have to take in order to be a good man. It is a set of tools to consider my life. And I have other sets of tools that I use, my faith, my profession, or both of which involve, ethical standards. But Masonry is another set of ethical standards by which I judge what is happening to me and what I need to do in return.
Nice.
I don't know if I've heard a finer answer.
I
Do you
was going to
find,
say,
well,
you got me
true, but
speechless.
do you find it's an equal mix of those things, or do you find you use one tool more than the other, or?
I think it depends on the circumstances. There are some things where, I'm a lawyer by profession and we have ethics codes. There are some things where that doesn't necessarily apply as much. A lot of the rules of ethics and professional conduct get a little bit specifically focused on the practice of law, although there are more philosophical elements. I was a Colorado attorney first because I'm originally from Colorado, and part of the Colorado oath that I'm going to mangle a little bit is I will never abandon for any personal reason the cause of the unrepresented. So I will never abandon for financial reasons or for greed or laziness representation of those people that need representation and which I can do. And that has a philosophical angle to it beyond just the law. Judaism obviously has thousands of years of discussion of ethics and the pursuit of what it means to be a Jew and what does it mean to be a good person in this world. So I think it really is a mix of all three of them. Those are the three things that I kind of describe as being written on my heart. And so I don't think there's any situation where none of them apply, Masonry, Judaism, or my profession, just which one has the right lens for viewing the situation.
So we talk about in Masonry that your Masonry and your religion cannot conflict. Do you find any conflicts with your profession? Or is there any time where any of them you have to really struggle to think that I should do it because I'm Jewish, or because I'm a Mason, or because I'm an attorney?
I will say, so that the conflicts between Judaism and Freemasonry are interesting ones. In that, for example, Jews don't kneel at altars. That's not part of the Jewish experience.
See, every time I learn something.
Yeah.
We will stand and we will bow, and there are various motions called davening that if you're Orthodox will be part of your praying experience, but we don't kneel. And so kneeling at an altar is foreign to us. I had kind of a crisis of conscience when I learned what our prayer posture in Nebraska is called, the Cross of the Good Shepherd. And obviously, we don't say who that is, but I don't think anyone in Nebraska Masonry is really confused about who that's supposed to be emulating. And so I had to think and work through those things and kind of come to it the same way that I work through, like when I have gone to Christian services and said, there are things that I can do here because that is what they do without it being something that's violating my faith. There are things that I won't do, obviously, like I have been to Catholic services and Catholic funerals, and obviously I sit quietly and respectfully when everyone is taking communion. But some of the forms, it being respectful and meeting the people that I am with on their own terms is important. And so that's how I've dealt with that those moments of, is this something that I should be doing as someone whose faith doesn't include this necessarily?
See, I find that ironic, and we don't need to go down a rabbit hole for religion, but the 23rd Psalms is a lot older than so that's where I would picture the Good Shepherd
Yes.
coming from. So
Yes, and I think that's, as with so many things in Masonry, it's drawing on symbolism that is not exclusive to Christianity.
sure.
But Freemasonry, at least in the United States and in the United Kingdom, are also predominantly Christian. And so it is, those parallels are impossible to avoid. And that's even baked into our ritual in a way that we won't go into specifically here. But there are specific parts of our ritual where,
Yes.
while it is emulating Judaism, it is clearly emulating Judaism as interpreted by and written by Christians. The really interesting one is, it has never happened, and I don't know how I would deal with it. But there is a possibility of the obligation of a Master Mason conflicting with my ethical requirements as a lawyer.
Oh, yes, I know exactly what you're saying.
Yes. And so I hope that never comes up.
I would hope that it doesn't come up regardless of the ethical question.
Right.
And I've thought that myself.
Yes, I hope that it never comes up for many reasons, one of which is dealing with that.
Yes.
And I also have faith that my brothers would not bring me something that would put me in that position.
Right.
Yeah.
But it is an interesting thought.
We'll have that conversation.
Right.
I lost where we were at. I was deep in thought.
Number 6.
Number 6, the upcoming education conference in 2026 in Nebraska.
Yes.
Is there something special going on there?
Yes, so in 2026, I think it's the last weekend in April. I think it's the 26th. It is the Midwest Conference on Masonic Education. The Midwest Conference on Masonic Education was founded in 1949 as a way of increasing the quality and availability of Masonic education in the member lodges, the member Grand Lodges specifically. And so we are blessed in 2025 that there are a lot of Masonic cons that you can go to. I've been blessed to attend and be a speaker at a number of them. The Midwest Conference is different in that you don't go to hear educational presentations, you go to hear presentations about how to be a Masonic educator. And especially in 2026, our theme is a practical toolkit. Everything that we're doing is trying to give the attendees practical things that they can take back to their Grand Lodges and their lodges to increase Masonic education, to nurture the love of Masonic education, and to see a flourishing of Masonic education. It is the Midwest Conference. I joke it is the increasingly absurdly named Midwest Conference, as we now include Texas, which I don't think anyone would necessarily define as Midwestern particularly.
Pretty sure Texans would not define
Yep.
what it was.
But my understanding is that at the time there were, other regional similar conferences, but we're kind of the only one left. And so as president of the Midwest Conference, until the Omaha conference happens, I'm delighted if any increasingly non-Midwestern states want to be part of the conference, because there is nothing uniquely Midwestern about the lessons that we're teaching, only, I would say, our hospitality and traditions. So, I'd love to have Colorado, I'd love to have Alaska, California. If they want to be in the Midwest Conference, we would be delighted to have them. And so it rotates through the member jurisdictions. I believe 2027 is Iowa. And so the president steps up at the previous year's conference and serves until they run the conference in their jurisdiction the next year.
And then they're done.
And then,
I'm done.
yeah.
I've had enough.
And so I was asked if I would take over when, unfortunately, the previous representative from Nebraska bowed out. And I immediately called TJ Brumfield and said, I'm a little over my head doing this by myself. Would you help? And I'm very excited about the plans that we have in motion right now. It'll be at the Omaha Scottish Rite, which we are delighted. We are hoping to, in a couple of weeks, be able to announce the hotel that we have locked down mostly for our out-of-state visitors, although I might get a hotel room just so that I don't have to drive back and forth between Lincoln. And we would love to see a huge number of Nebraska Masons come out. We are really hoping that we can beat Ohio's record for attendance, which was right about 100. So we'd love to have lodges come out, pack a van full of brethren who want to come learn how to be Masonic educators, bring them down. We're going to have a little bit more social time on Friday. Right now, we are looking at locking it down, but the idea that TJ and I had was Friday night is a Hot Ones style panel with presenters that are willing to participate, hosted by Robert Johnson of Illinois, another Masonic podcaster. Then Saturday is a day full of presentations and breakout sessions, followed by a banquet Saturday night with the election and installation of officers.
So you heard that, Husker Masons, we need to beat Ohio State.
Yep, exactly.
That's all I heard.
That's what I heard.
Let them win.
Well, that, and I'm picturing in my mind a con. Do they dress up like a Comic Con?
Well, if you want to dress up, we can help you.
Oh, don't challenge me. Don't challenge me.
Well, I'll love it. But no, it's like last year they had Adam Kendall, the Scottish Rite historian from California. We had Dr. Heather Calloway, who's in charge of the fraternal collection in Indiana. They are always really interesting opportunities to expand your knowledge of how to be a Masonic educator.
Have to tell our friends Jim Hall with the Traveling Man and Sam and the boys with the third degree to keep your Ohio Masons at home.
They're right.
No. We still want them to come.
Well, bring them, just not more than Nebraska Masons.
No. See, it's overall attendance that we're going for. Bring a lot of Ohio people to our conference so that the number is higher.
See, I thought it was a competition.
No.
No, it is a competition. We just want to get
Right. We want to beat the record.
Oh, that's no problem.
I misunderstood.
I did too.
Yeah, sorry. We want to beat their record from 2022, I think.
So we'll just drive around with a van to all the lodges.
Yeah, just go Shanghai people into
Masonic cookies inside.
Cookies. No green beans.
We actually do. The Midwest Conference has a tradition where we have a break for milk and cookies in the afternoon.
I'm in.
So there will be cookies.
You should have led with that.
Cookies at the Scottish Rite.
So building on that, as co-chair of Masonic Education, what can lodges do better to educate Masons?
I think the two kind of almost contradictory things that lodges can do to educate Masons are, first, understand that Masonic education is not gate kept. There are no degrees in Masonic education. There's no official certification body. If you have a member that wants...
Should there be?
Well, that's going to be part two.
Okay, all right.
If you have members that are interested in education, that's what drives education. I gave my first educational presentation because I wanted to do something more than just the monthly education emails that go out. As much as now that I'm writing a significant number of them, I think they're a great resource. I wanted to go above and beyond that. And so I think there can be a tendency to view Masonic education as being something that is only done if you're an Arturo de Hoyos or you're a Chris Hodap or you're at that level. And ignoring that they didn't start, Arturo de Hoyos did not start off as Grand Archivist and Historian of the Scottish Rite. He started off as art at a local lodge, and someone had to inspire that and nurture that. So your education can be very small and very local. If you just want to stand up and give a history of a local interesting landmark, or if you're Masonic education, we are an aging fraternity. How many of our brothers do we think don't have wills or advanced planning? There is nothing that says that Masonic education for an evening couldn't be having a brother who's an attorney, or bringing in a brother to speak at an education, repast after the formal meeting to talk about that kind of thing. It can be what your lodge needs it to be. No one is going to come down and tell you, no, you're not doing education the right way. The education committee does not have the money to also be the education police, even if we wanted to be. The other thing that I think is important for lodges about Masonic education, though, is do consider what resources you are using, because there are a lot of tall tales that we even tell ourselves within the fraternity. So simultaneous with the anybody can do Masonic research, Masonic research is for, or Masonic education and research is for every brother, but also take on yourself a little bit to go, is this real?
Right.
Like, without saying anything about anyone that believes it, how much can you verify about that talk that you want to give about Oak Island and the Knights Templar?
Wait a minute, what?
I know, it's tragic.
That's why I joined. I wanted to find the treasure.
There's a great article by the now departed Aline Bernheim talking about the forget-me-not pin. Because how many Masons have heard about the forget-me-not pin in the story? It was the secret way that Masons identified themselves in World War II, and it wasn't. That's not true. The true story is actually really interesting, and there are other stories about Freemasonry in Germany in World War II, like the lodge. There genuinely was a secret lodge in a concentration camp. Look for the real stories and the real history. In the preface to the Scottish Rite Monitor, De Hoyos talks about the Romantic school of Masonic history and the historical school of Masonic history. And I think our obligation in 2025 as people that want to do Masonic education is to try to give real history. When you're doing history, and Masonic education doesn't have to just be history. I love, philosophical or esoteric education as well, but we need to be taking another step beyond just reading what we find on the internet or repeating the stories that we've heard as Masons. Our history and our philosophy and our symbols are so rich and meaningful without embroidering them with historical fantasy that we diminish what really happened, what Masonry has really meant to hundreds of thousands, if not millions of men for centuries, when we engage in flights of fancy. So anyone can do Masonic education, but take a step to really think about, is what I'm presenting real?
So related to that, what in your opinion would make a good Masonic education piece, or what would make a bad Masonic education piece?
I think they're kind of two sides of the same coin. A good Masonic education piece is anything that is interesting to the brethren, at least more likely to be true than not, and bringing a different bit of information or perspective or tradition to the brethren than they would normally encounter. Because we can go through and, there are elements of our symbols that are talked about to death, right? If it's in the working tool speech, it probably doesn't need to be reiterated. We know Masonically what the square is. But an absolutely interesting Masonic education discussion could be, what can we learn from other forms of squares? Because we use one specific form of a square, but that's not the only one. And what other kinds of squares are there, and what would they be used for? And then if you are symbolically inclined, what can we look at and see philosophically and esoterically from these other forms of squares as well? And that can be your own thoughts on it. That can be where your creativity comes in. And that you're not as worried about, well, is this true? Well, it's your philosophical discussion. It doesn't have to be true in that, you can verify, well, obviously this is the symbolism of a carpenter square versus a T-square. because you are bringing something to the discussion. What makes a bad Masonic education piece is it's not interesting, or it's trite, or it's, I can't remember which Masonic periodical said it. It might have been the Journal of the Masonic Society, but we don't need kind of fluff pieces of just, oh, so say we all. You know, if everyone in Masonry already agrees on it, it doesn't necessarily need to be an education piece. You don't have to be unearthing the secrets of Oak Island every time, but you should at least be trying to bring something different to it, whether that's, you know, we haven't talked about this Mason that belonged to the lodge that I, you know, researched for an hour. Or here is a history of our old building. I know almost nothing about the building where Nebraska One was before it was in this building.
Right.
I would consider it a very interesting education piece if someone went and looked and gave some facts about this was the building, it was built this year, we moved in this year, and it is now torn down and turned into a Walmart. Or whatever the actual story is. That's bringing something new. So a bad education piece is, you know, rote or trite or untrue without having thought about why.
How are we doing with that?
We'll do another question.
Okay.
Tell us about the Order of the Pelican.
Okay.
Somebody's been Facebook.
Somebody's been
stalking.
Facebook stalking me. So, longer than I have been a Mason, I have been a member of the Society for Creative Anachronism. The Society for Creative Anachronism is a medieval recreation society founded in 1965 in Berkeley, California by hippies who were fed up with the modern world and wanted to recapture some of the ancient and medieval world. Our first event was a garden party at a house in Berkeley where they improvised a form of sword fighting, knighted each other, walked up and down Telegraph Avenue in Berkeley protesting modernity, and then ate, drank, and went home. And they had so much fun that they decided to do it a second time. Once you're doing something a second time, now you need a little bit of, you know, thought. It's not just a garden party for some friends that are leaving now. Well, okay, we should do a thing. Marion Zimmer Bradley, the author of The Mists of Avalon, was one of our founding members, and when the Berkeley Parks needed a name to put on a reservation, she came up at the drop of a hat with the Society for Creative Anachronism. As it evolved, we decided on a structure. The tournament that had happened at the first event, we decided was actually a tournament to select a king and or rather, the first one was to name a lady the Queen of Love and Beauty. We decided afterwards, actually, we were picking a king and queen, and so we were going to do that again. And so we established a cycle of crown tournaments. All of this is getting to the actual question, I promise, but it's the background.
I'm just realizing I'm hanging out with the wrong crowd.
A couple of years in, we formalized a structure. Everyone who joined the SCA, the moment you are in the SCA, you are considered untitled nobility. Then you can get awards that make you a lord or a lady. If you have been king or queen once, you are a count or countess. If you have been king or queen twice, you are a duke or duchess. And then they decided, okay, but we need also something to recognize excellence and skills. And so they created the peerage orders. They said the first peerage order was knighthood, because at the first party, one guy knighted another. So knighthood is the peerage order for martial excellence in our fighting style.
Have you ever been to a party like this? I've never.
No.
I think you had to be there in 1965 in Berkeley.
Okay, all right.
But we also have people doing other things. So for everything else, we're going to create the Order of the Laurel. The laurel being the symbol for, you know, the Olympics and excellence in arts. 3 years later, in Anno Societatis 5, so 1970, they decided, okay, well, we need to break service off from everything else. So now the laurel will be specifically arts and sciences, and we're going to create the Order of the Pelican as the peerage order for service to the society. And so for a very long time, until we got some more that we don't need to talk about now, the SEA had 3 peerage orders: chivalry for martial endeavors, laurel for arts and sciences, and pelican for service. And the question about that is that I was announced a couple of weeks ago that I would be inducted in January into the Order of the Pelican in the kingdom that we are a part of for my service to the society. So I describe it for Masons as it's kind of like the 33rd degree, but for a specific area within the society.
Excellent.
Nice.
All right, we'll take another quick break.
We might need a long break for that one. I've got to digest that.
We'll go get some swords.
Let's go.
I look,
This party's just getting started.
That's all I heard is we can sword fight.
yes.
All right, we'll be.
At Homeward Handyman Services, we pride ourselves on being honest and giving every job the attention it deserves. Owned and operated by a master mason with 2 decades of expertise in home repair. We are bonded and insured, and we carry the highest standards when it comes to taking care of your home. Whether you need a faucet changed or a light remodel, we can take care of your home improvement needs. Call Michael at 402-915-0824 today for a free estimate.
And I got a coin.
And we're
wow.
back. You got a coin?
Yeah, I signed up for the coin.
Awesome.
1855, yeah.
Ooh.
Nice.
Yeah, the 1855 Club for Nebraska Lodge 1 is our new legacy fund. And the idea behind it is that you can donate $18.55 a month. And the money goes to our legacy down the road. We're not even thinking about what that money's for, but those brothers down the road, they will be. And it would have been nice had we had that opportunity right now. So that's the idea behind it. But to kick it off, we've minted 170 for our 170th anniversary, 170 individually numbered coins. If you commit to a year of that, then you get a coin. So that is what we're talking about when we're talking about the 1855 coin.
Can I share a very quick Nebraska, or a one-time pay?
Right.
Can I share a very quick Nebraska 1 fact that Micah Evans will be sad if I don't share?
Uh-oh.
We are the oldest lodge in Nebraska. We are not the longest continually operating lodge in Nebraska.
Yes, that's come up before.
On the podcast? Okay.
Yes.
All right. I just see, and I love that fact because I think it shows the interesting history of Freemasonry in a way that we don't have now, because we don't have the Cerno Rite running around selling, off-brand Scottish Rite degrees.
I learned an interesting fact getting ready this week on Sunday. I started down a rabbit hole. I don't even know why I started down the rabbit hole, but I ended up reading about the very first master of Nebraska 1 and what happened to him. And the first thing that I noticed is it was like 5 years in a row, or it was 4 out of the first 5 years he was the master. So we talk about mitzvah. One of the things that they're proud of is that they've never had the same one. We were done right out of the chute. The first guy held it for a while, but where it got interesting is in 1865, he ended up joining one of the Mormon wagon trains going to Salt Lake City. And so he's buried in Utah.
Interesting.
He was a Civil War veteran, but he ended up in Utah that way. So, which has nothing to do with this. Go right ahead.
No, that was right.
That's a rabbit hole. That was some history that I learned.
You know what happens when I step in a rabbit hole? I usually break my damn ankle.
It's coming. I just end up losing an afternoon.
All right, Matthew, we're going to hit some random questions.
Okay.
So we're going to ask you to pick a number between 1 and 33.
Okay, I'll start with 23, the year I was master.
23.
That means he's got to do 24 now.
Oh, that's really small. Here, hold my glasses.
The year I was master of Lodge 1.
Ah, there we go. Okay.
Is there anything you haven't done Masonically that you wish to accomplish?
Ooh.
Once you get the order of the Pelican,
Right, exactly. Everything else is. No, I think that's interesting because genuinely I'm having a hard time coming up with one that I think that I could reasonably do. Like, I think a lot of people look and go like, oh, it'd be cool to be Grand Master. But one guy a year. We've had 100, and what did he say, 159, 158 in the history. So like, that's not particularly achievable, nor is it within your own power to decide to do.
Right.
I've presented at Masonic conferences. I've been published in Masonic journals. I've been a master. I genuinely can't think of anything that I haven't had a chance to do that I would really like to. And I feel very blessed in that I've had so many opportunities in Masonry. And so many of the things that I want to do going forward in Masonry are creating opportunities for other people. The one like itty bit of selfishness, I think it'd be a lot of fun to be Grand Chaplain. As far as I know, I would be the first Jewish Grand Chaplain in the state of Nebraska.
Yeah.
And I think it would be interesting to be able to bring, like you said, I have been blessed to be a lot of Nebraska Masons, either first Jew that they've ever met, or at least first Jew that they've gotten to talk to in any kind of a regular basis. And I think that would be an opportunity to have that experience on a broader scale and pronounce Hebrew words correctly for a lot more Masons.
All right, let's grab another number.
32.
32. Who's been a mentor that helped you along your journey?
I mean, I've already kind of listed a couple, but I'll throw out another one here, which is Worshipful Brother T.J. Brumfield. The first time that I ever delivered a part of ritual was delivering the historical lecture in the Mark Master degree, because TJ put together the Mark Master degree team for Omaha Chapter 1. So we went to the York Rite Festival, and that was the first lecture I ever gave in Masonry. And so I joke that I'm only ever approximately proficient, and I just get it mostly right, but that was the first time that someone came to me and said, hey, would you do a big piece? Like, I think I had done Steward and Degrees, which is, I'm not saying that's not important by any means, but it's not a big chunk of memorization.
Right.
And so TJ challenged me on that. And when he invited me into the York Rite, TJ also set me on the path of writing in Masonry, because he said, I want you to join Chapter 1. We are really focused on education. And the education that you've been doing at Lodge 1, I think you'd really fit in. And it was doing that and writing things up for Chapter 1 that led me to write the first Masonic article that I ever had published, which was a Jewish view on prophets, which was published by the Philalethes.
Wow.
All right. Let's have one more.
There are 7 letters in Pelican.
What piece of advice would you give a younger you?
Oh God, a younger me specifically. I had a similar philosophy in Masonry when I joined Masonry as I did when I joined the SCA. And I was shy in high school. I've always been very outgoing, but I was also bullied for being overweight. And in response to being bullied for being overweight, I retreated into, well, I may be fat, but I'm smarter than you. That is not a way to make a lot of friends, it turns out. And so when I got to college, I said, I'm going to stop that. I'm going to try to reinvent myself. And I found the SCA, and I said, this is going to be the area of my life where I don't have any regrets of not trying something. If there's an opportunity, I'm going to put myself out there. And even if I fail at it, I can regret having done poorly, but I will not regret not trying.
Yeah.
And so in Masonry, I have had the same viewpoint, as well as having a viewpoint in both, that it is incumbent on all of us to work to leave the things we love in a better place than they were when we joined them. And the advice that I would give myself, a younger me, is all of those are good. You don't have to do all of them at once. You will come to a point in your life where you are very fulfilled, but you are also desperate for like a weekend to not do things, and where maybe having to schedule out your life in at least 3-month increments is not great for your mental health at all times. So do that, take the opportunities, but also recognize that like you've got some time.
Excellent advice.
Just say no, right? Is it
Yeah.
what you keep hearing?
Just
We
say no.
talk in the SCA, we talk a lot about helium hand. Just because someone's asking for help doesn't mean your hand has to start going. It's
I haven't
okay.
heard that yet.
We just had this conversation a little bit ago about me not knowing how to say no.
Yes,
He
it
said
is.
I don't know that word.
It is a common problem in both Masonry and the SCA. We joke about the real secret word of Masonry being no.
Well, we had a big conversation with Most Worshipful Stratman about that exact thing. The problem isn't necessarily that I can't say no to helping. It's that a lot of times you feel the value of what is going on.
Yes.
What they're doing is that organization's great. I know that I have no time to help them, but they ask me to join. I support it. And then when they ask you, can you be the steward?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I guess I can do that. Well, can you learn this part? Yeah, I guess I can do that.
I am a sucker for someone saying, hey, Matt, we really need some help. Can you help? It's like, well, gosh darn it. Yeah, like I have been for 11 years now the pro bono corporate counsel for a science fiction fan club with 6,000 members nationwide. And it's like, God, I really like helping out. That's another meeting every month. That's another weekend day every month. There will be opportunities. You can let some pass because they'll come back. They don't all have to happen at once.
All right, well, like
I feel that.
Makes a lot of sense. I can nod all day long.
There's a certain kind of person who needs to hear that and will not listen to
That's
it.
right.
And I say that with love because I'm one of them.
So is Jim. Oh, you do all right. Okay, that brings us to a new segment. Whether it stays or goes, who knows?
Careful, don't smack it. Yeah.
So, lately, I've been
Collecting
informed.
dolls, is that what the new segment is?
I've been informed that I have an addiction to saving Masonic artifacts from antique stores.
I may have said that myself.
So, Jason brought me this piece tonight, and it is a planter / pen holder,
I was going with toothbrush holder, but
toothbrush holder. It could be. I suppose you could fill it with whiskey and
I'd
somehow
wash it
drink
out
out of
first.
it. So, it says 1965 on the bottom. It's a Shriner. And see, I had one. Did yours have foam back here? See, the one I got had foam like you would stick the fake flowers into.
Oh.
so you get more than one.
This is a duplicate. I have one exactly the same at home that I picked up a few weeks ago.
Same year or?
I think so.
Well, he needed a friend, clearly.
Well, I can make them bookends
Oh, yeah, that could be.
That actually is a good idea.
for all 3 books that I have.
You
The
still, want,
coloring books will work with them.
you still want to keep them properly, keep them nice. Yeah.
Right.
Just don't eat the crayons.
So I think every episode, and we'll throw pictures of this on our socials. And if anybody knows exactly what it was with any artifact that we put out there, we'll do this every episode, and give us some insight if you had one, or if you know what it is, or you know where it came from, or if you'd like something that you'd want us to feature. Let us know. Get a hold of us. I'm not opposed to. What do they say on American Pickers? The time to buy it is when you've never seen one before, which could get expensive, and has gotten expensive.
I think Mama Bear's looking at you.
She's worse than I am.
I see a lot of head shaking. now.
She is worse than I am. She's like, let's go to the antique store. I'm bored on a Saturday. Let's go antiquing.
Well, I hate to say this, but my wife has mentioned that we need to go, so next time you go, hit one up.
Let you know.
Let me know. I'm not saying that I'm going to go save a bunch of artifacts. But it would
You
be
can help
fun.
me. You can help me look for them.
I can help you load the car to the truck.
All right. Did you prepare any shout outs?
Getaway driver.
I I do have a shout out this week, and
Okay.
it's actually related to what we were talking about earlier. It's about education.
Okay.
I'm going to give a shout out to those teachers out there that are doing it for the right reason and that are actually taking the time to learn how to teach you what you need to know, as opposed to just giving you information. There are certain people that have a knack for doing that. To be able to want to teach, but more importantly, to have that knowledge on how to teach. And
Yeah.
so I've had some teachers in my life that are that way, and I just want to shout out, you are thought of in high regard.
Jason?
Mine would just be to Nebraska One for inviting / allowing us to be here. It's been a pleasure. Yeah, that's all I got today.
All right. Matthew?
I mean, I'm going to be a little mercenary and say my shout out is for the Society for Creative Anachronism. If you are interested in medieval recreation, we are in our 60th year, and it has been equally transformative in my life as Freemasonry. And in a lot of ways, reinventing myself through the SCA put me in a position where I would be able to take the lessons of Masonry when I was ready to join and integrate them into my life. So
How do we get more information on that?
you can find the national website at www.sca.org. If you are in Nebraska, there are 2 baronies in Nebraska, the barony of Lonely Tower, which serves Omaha and Council Bluffs, and the barony of Magmore, which serves Lincoln, basically until you go west and hit Wyoming or Colorado. I know it is magmore.callanteer.org because I am the Baron of the Lincoln group. So,
Of course you are.
speaking of not being able to say no, if recreating history or fighting or learning to blacksmith or brew or sew sounds fun, let us
got him at
know.
brew.
Yeah.
I was thinking more blacksmithing.
Oh, I'm sure.
SCA.org is national. Callanteer, CALONTIR.org is the 4-state kingdom that we are a part of.
All right. I would also like to thank Lodge 1 for allowing us to record here tonight. My shout out goes to Brother Gabriel in Beehive Lodge. He's our newest Master Mason. Not only did he, granted it is short form, but he was spot on. But not only did he do that well, in 2 weeks? A week and a half?
He did it
Wow.
well, and he
About 2
actually
weeks,
corrected the questioner when he missed one. So
Yeah.
I won't mention who the questioner was.
But he also filled in as our junior deacon, who he's only done a couple times and had to get fed lines. But he looked that over during dinner, and he nailed every line for junior deacon,
Awesome.
opening in EA. So
Awesome.
kudos to him.
He did good.
So with that, I think we'll wrap this sucker up.
Okay.
All right. Well, follow us on socials, like, subscribe, share, check us out on
We
Facebook.
got anything coming up soon?
I didn't put anything on there because I don't know.
We're still looking for tickets for the
The Veterans Dinner.
Veterans Dinner on the 8th. You can find all that information on Facebook. On our
Yep, Facebook
page.
on our podcast page on Facebook, or also Beehive Lodge 184 on Facebook. There are links to buy tickets. Bye.
If you want to come over to Lincoln, Cotner Lodge in Lincoln is doing an Oktoberfest table lodge at the end of the month. You can find details on Facebook, or if you reach out to Mark Rossignol, who everybody in Lincoln knows who Mark Rossignol is, so we can put you in contact with him.
Wonderful.
And again, Job's Daughters, October 18th, doing Indian tacos here. Come join.
Indian tacos.
Indian tacos.
Indian tacos.
All right. Well, until next time, travel well, my brothers.
Travel well.
When it comes to something as important as insurance, it's imperative that you work with an agency who has an in-depth knowledge of multiple insurance products, companies, and guidelines, not just one. We are completely independent agents, and we work for your best interests. We are Mason-friendly. We have locations in Fremont and Elkhorn. We provide policies for virtually all of your personal and commercial needs, including health and dental. Visit our website at www.theinsurancecenterinc.com. We're available Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m.